Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Lauren from Guthrie and Ghani. Happy New Year. I hope you're all well wherever you are and whatever you're up to. In this video, I am going to be sharing the recording of my live question and answer sewing and dressmaking themed session that I did over on the Instagram platform from Monday the 9th of January 2023. Let's remember what year we're in now. So lots of people have sent in questions beforehand asking for advice or tips or recommendations on their sewing and dressmaking projects, and I'm going to be sharing lots of fabrics from the shop to help inspire you and answer your questions. You will see me read and answer any questions that are coming in live as well, so I'll help to keep the context of that in the YouTube video. So if you're watching here on YouTube and you do want to ask me a question that I can cover in another session, I do these sessions every single week on a Monday night at 8 PM UK time, then you can either leave a comment on this video and I'll try to keep up with them as best I can, or you can email us as well. You can email the shop and I'll put the contact details in the description to this video as well. Everything that I show is available to buy in my online shop as well, so you can have a look through that. I'll put the link to that in the description. So I'm going to switch over to the live video now. I hope you enjoy it and I'll see you soon. Hi everyone, Happy New Year. It's good to see you. Thanks for joining. We'll just wait till a few more people join us. Hi. Hopefully Instagram's not just going to forget to tell everybody that I'm live again, because it's the first one of 2023. Quite a few weeks since I've been here to chat to you. Happy New Year indeed. Hi everyone. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Thanks for all your messages. Lots of nice wishes for everyone. Hello. So yeah, it has been a few weeks since I've seen you all. I've missed you. I've missed chatting to you, and I've got lots of things to show you and share with you tonight. So if you are feeling a bit of the January meh, and like you're not really, you know, it's quite cold, isn't it? It's quite wet, and let's face it, you know, it's not the most exciting month. So hopefully the next hour will just be like a little reprieve from everything, and you can just immerse yourself in some nice fun sewing and fabric chat with me. Feel free to ask me questions as I'm chatting. I do have quite a lot of questions to get through, and also like a lot of things to show you as well, because it's been so many weeks since we've chatted. There's lots of things to catch up on. So yeah, Happy New Year. Somebody's saying this is my first live. Well, welcome. Thank you. Somebody's got, we're twinning. I'm twinning with someone. They've got the same hoodie on. Yeah, this is the Paige hoodie, which we did as a kit back in September. And I was trying to decide what to wear tonight. And I was like, do you know what? I feel like just being really cozy and comfy. I'm going to put one of the hoodies on. So yeah, I thought I would just be nice and cozy in this. Dashed out of circuit training to watch. That sounds like a good plan. This will definitely be more relaxing than circuit training. So yeah, I do have some new fabrics to show you, and we do also have loads of new fabrics on the way that we ordered last year. So they're like spring summer fabrics that are going to be starting to come sort of towards the end of the month, and then I think it's literally going to be like non-stop of new fabrics, so that's quite exciting. There's a new Liberty collection due soon as well, so lots of newness. But in the meantime, we do still have the sale going on as well, so there's loads of fabrics got added with 20% off, and then the older sale stuff has now got 40% off. So there are some bargains in there as well. And then we do also have some of the older kits with a bit of a discount on them as well. So somebody was asking, is there a new Sewing Society kit for January? So we don't do a new one in January. That we don't really have like the manpower to be able to produce all of the kits for a release in January, just like with Christmas and stuff, and then people taking time off and that sort of thing. So instead we've got a little bit of a discount on some of the past kits. So I do have some of the samples to show you. We've got some of the Chalk and Notch Joy jacket left in this maroon colour, and it's got this amazing beautiful lining fabric in it. It's a viscose lining. I love the colours in that. So it's got a YKK zip that matches, and it's just like a nice, really nice lightweight sort of spring jacket. So that one's got 20% off now. It's just the maroon colour that's left. And then we do have, I don't think there's many left at all now. they've been getting snapped up, but we do have some of the by hand London Marie shirt in the Cheetah print, and that's got 20% off as well. And we don't have any of this fabric by the meter either, so even if it was just that you like really loved the fabric and you wanted to get some, that's the last chance that you will have to get some of that fabric. And then we also have the Zadie jumpsuit. I couldn't find, just as I was looking, I couldn't find the sample in the rust colourway that's left. I've only got the, let me pull it off here, I've only got the teal colourway as a sample, which sadly we've sold out of this one, but we do have the rust left. I mean, jumpsuits always look better on, don't they, than on a hanger. Check out the listing for pictures of that, and it might look a bit more inspiring. But yeah, there's 20% off that one as well, so it's just the rust colour in that one. Also 20% off the Dawn's jeans kits, and then we've got off the Page and Plateau, there's 10% off of them as well, so there's just selected colours left. And this, we do have the teal left, so yeah, they've got 10% off as well. So it's quite good if you want to try like a stretch fabric for the first time as well. It's a nice simple pattern, nice easy fabric to work with. It's like a sort of brushed back sweatshirting fabric. It's recycled cotton polyester mix. It's really nice, lovely and cozy, and it comes with matching ribbing and then also matching lining for the hood as well. So it's like a trio of fabrics in the hoodie one, and the cords as well. And I'll show you how to do these cool little sort of thread stops on them as well, which is nice. So yeah, check out the Sewing Society kit section. And then you can see all the ones that are discounted, but we will, but in February we'll be back to like normal releases on the first Wednesday of every month of the kits. And yeah, there's just so many like really exciting things coming up this year, but I'm sort of getting myself together in terms of like how much I tell you and give away beforehand. So I'll come back to that one. So in terms of the new things that we've got, I wanted to show you some of them as well. I've got a big pile of things on the table to show me here. So we've got a couple of colourways of a marled fleece back sweatshirting fabric. So this is got like a brushed back to it as well, so it's really lovely and cozy. It's not, I would say it's more like a lighter weight sweatshirting. It's not like really thick. It's pretty similar to this, to be honest. But yeah, it's got this lovely marled colour to it. So this particular one is indigo, so it's more sort of like bluey grey tones that's in it, and it's $16.40 a metre for this one. And then the same base but a much lighter colourway is this one here, which is also marled as well, and it's actually got quite a lot of different colour tones in it. I don't know if you'll be able to pick that up or not. It's like a sort of light aqua blue. I would say there's some lavender sort of purpley tones in there as well. It's really lovely. It feels so soft. So this one is the mint marl fleece back sweatshirting fabric, and it's also $16.40 a metre. So these are all now in the Just Arrived section online. And then we've got a range of 5 different colours. I forgot to bring one of them over, but it's a sort of light pink, the other colourway that I've not got to show you, but I'll show you the other ones so that you can see them. So it's dashed lines, that's like the print, and then it comes in different colours. So it's a cotton jersey. It's $14.10 a metre, so it's just like your regular sort of like t-shirt weight style jersey. It's really nice, so it's quite good if you don't want anything that's like too patterned, or it's just maybe like a little bit more of a subtle sort of pattern on it. It's quite stripy as well if you like stripes. So this is the purple one here, and then we've also got a really nice kind of ochre and blue one, so that's those 2 colourways there. And then we've got a green one. Let's see what name we've given the green. Yeah, it's just called green. And then yeah, it's like a light pink is the other one that I forgot to bring over. It's still on the shelf over there. So yeah, there's those 5 colours of that one. And then we've got a couple of colourways of this one here. This is French terry, cotton French terry. So it's a loop back. So I would say it kind of sits a little bit between like a fleece back sweatshirting and a t-shirt weight. So it's like a heavier t-shirt weight or like a lighter weight sweatshirting. That's usually, I find that usually the best way to describe it or sort of place it on the spectrum. But it's got quite a nice sort of nice print on it with little lines, and they're black, those bits there, but then it's interspersed with colours. So you've got some ochre, sort of sagey colour, a pink kind of light lilac purpley colour as well on an off-white background. So it's really nice. I think this type of fabric crosses over really nicely between t-shirt patterns and sweatshirt patterns. And then the other colourway of that one is this one here, which is on more of like a kind of powder powder pink background, I would say. So just another nice colourway of that. And then the last one that we've got is a bit more of a sort of larger scale kind of leaf print, which again is that cotton French terry. So yeah, it's got like nice teals and blues and a sort of coral colour there as well. So another really lovely one if you like prints. And then we do also now have a few colourways of a new bag canvas. So if you've been inspired by some of our bag making Sewing Society kits, then this is another fabric that is really good for bag making. It's 100% cotton and it's just like quite a nice thick canvas. It's a good weight for a bag. And you know, if you put woven interfacing on it, would make it even more sturdy. So we've got 3 colours just now. It does actually come in loads of colours, but we thought we'd get 3 to start with and see how popular it was. So this is the 7-berry sand brown cotton canvas. It's £16.90 a metre. So we do at the moment also have it in navy and like a kind of off-white colour as well, like a more neutrally colour. But as I said, it does actually come in loads of other colours as well. So we can expand that range if you would like more colours in that one. But we thought it was just a nice sort of bag making option. You could actually use it to make lightweight jackets as well, like the Ilford jacket or something like that. You could definitely use it for that too. Sometimes you see that style of jacket made in a sort of canvas type fabric. And then we've got 3 colourways of this really lovely stripy ribbed knitted fabric. So this one is this is the sky blue and white striped blended knit fabric. So it's a viscose and polyester mix, and it's got quite a sort of pronounced rib texture on it. It's super stretchy because it's viscose, it's quite floppy. So it would be really nice for, I feel like this is quite a summery blue. It'd be really nice for a little Zoe vest top in the summer. I think that would look nice, or just any sort of fitted t-shirt or top. It's really lovely. So that sort of sky blue, which yeah, is definitely a bit more brighter and sort of summery, but then also just a classic navy and white stripe, which is nice. And then also we've got this one here, which is a more sort of corally red colour. Yeah, we've called it coral and white stripe blended knit fabric. So another lovely one there. So I think that's all the new ones that I wanted to show you. All the other fabrics I've got out, I'm just checking. Oh no, there's not. There's 2 other viscoses. Viscose prints. These are viscose twills as well. So they are a little bit heavier. They're 100% viscose. This is the Autumnal Garden viscose twill. I would say that twill is a good weave if you want to use a viscose in like the autumn or winter, because it just feels a bit weightier. It feels a bit sort of thicker and heavier. So this one is like a little bit of a busier print. It's got lots of beautiful colours in it. If you love kind of oranges and warm tones and that kind of thing, it's really nice. Dresses like the Tilly and the Buttons Lyra, or the indigo, anything like that would be really nice. And yeah, as I said, because it's the twill weave, I think it probably does make it just feel a bit more wintry, or like a little bit thicker. Okay, somebody asked me a question there. Where did it go? I've lost it. Where did my question go? I'm sorry, I've lost it. Sometimes Instagram is just a bit weird when it's showing me who's joined. Oh, there it is. Would those stripes be okay for a Rio ringer tee? Yeah, I think they would be. I think they would be all right. They definitely they're definitely very stretchy. The Rio ringer's quite fitted, so you always have to make sure you've got something that's got enough stretch in that one. Okay, the next viscose one that I wanted to show you has got a little bit more of a larger scale print. This has actually got a sort of texture woven into the fabric. It's the Stitched Florals viscose fabric. It's £15.60 a metre. So I would say it's like a twill, but then it's almost got like a spot sort of texture woven into it as well. It's going to be quite hard to show you in this light here, but it is a really lovely texture, and you can see the scale of it's just a little bit bigger. It's more spaced out, like there's more, it's black, the background, more black space. Beautiful sort of fuchsia floral there. The colours in it are really nice. So if you like prints that are a bit more of a larger scale, then that's a lovely one there. It would look gorgeous as a nice long skirt or a dress. Very striking. And then actually I've just spotted another new one that I wanted to show you too. It's an embroidered denim. It probably is like a little bit of spring summer stock that has been shipped out to us a little bit earlier, but we've got it out anyway. It's just quite a lightweight denim, and it's got this gorgeous little daisy embroidered into it, so that's white and ochre embroidery thread in it. And as you can see, it's quite floppy and lightweight. It's 100% cotton, so more for like sort of shirt dresses or shirts, the blouses, or nice gathered skirt for the summer as well. That would be nice too. So another nice more sort of spring option. I don't know, are you guys starting to sew for spring? Are you still like trying to be cozy with your projects? I would say I'm probably still more in the cozy vein of things, to be honest, and maybe when all the new fabrics come in, I'll want to make something that's more for the spring. The large print viscose is gorgeous. Yeah, can you think of a midi or full skirt pattern you can make with that orange floral viscose twill? The mauve skirt, the True Bias mauve skirt is quite nice. It's quite full, and it's got like lots of gathered tiers on it. Okay, so what was next on my list to show you? I think that might have been everything actually. So I'll get on to the questions that were sent in beforehand, and then yeah, I'll try and keep up with any questions that you're asking as I chat along as well. So the first one was, could you use the teddy shearling fabric to make the fibremood didi pullover? So this is like a sort of kind of pullover top. It's got a zip sort of section here. It's like a jumper sort of sweater pattern. This is the fabric in question here, the shearling. Oops. Roll of fabric's just fallen down. This one here, can you make it? I would say probably not, to be honest, only because the backing is not really, I don't know if you would want that necessarily directly next to your skin. So if you did use it, you'd probably have to line it with something like a lightweight cotton jersey, which might actually be quite nice. You would just have to, the pattern doesn't come lined, so you would have to sort of like work that out a bit as you were going along. But yeah, I would say just because it's probably something like a polar fleece you're looking for, which sadly we don't have any of, but yeah, that kind of double-sided type of fabric is better for the didi pullover, or just like a sweatshirting, like fleece back sweatshirting, something that's going to be a bit softer next to your skin. This is better for more like lining something or having it as a collar, that kind of thing. Okay, so let me pop that back. It's like literally like the size of a person, that roll. Try and make it not fall over, knock all my lights down. Okay, the next one, not really a question as such, but you know, might be useful for other people watching. I've just cleaned out my closet today. Tons of me-made things that don't fit me or my style anymore. I hear you. I have got so many things that I've made because I've been making most of my own clothes for so long now. That I'm a little bit of a hoarder with them. I feel like I don't want to get rid of them because I feel a bit more attached to them. I would say it is hard, but I think what you have to weigh up is that if you do have lots of clothes that you're not wearing anymore because you don't like them, they're not your style, you don't like the fabric anymore, whatever, they don't fit, whatever reason, I would say if that is then stopping you from enjoying your hobby and being able to sew new things which bring you joy and make you happy and that you can wear now, if the sort of burden or the guilt of having all of those things is stopping you from like having, you know, enjoying new sewing times and new sewing projects, then I think you have to try and somehow find the strength to be like a bit ruthless and get rid of them. You know, it might be that our local charity shop is quite good. They'll take handmade garments that don't have labels on them. I know that varies. Some charity shops, if they get clothing that doesn't have like a proper clothing label on it, they just put it to the rag bin, and then it gets recycled, which, you know, might be quite a sad end to your handmade make. So you might want to check what your local charity shop does. So yeah, but I feel you. I know it's hard. If anybody has any wisdom on that or how they've overcome it, please share and I will read it out to everybody else watching. Okay, the next one was tips for sewing buttonholes on knit cotton cardi fabric. So I'm presuming that this, I didn't know what exactly fabric this was, but I'm presuming it's quite thick and maybe the machine is struggling to sew the buttonhole. Make sure that you've got interfacing in there just so that the fabric where you're sewing the buttonhole, the fabric's not stretching out too much, because that can sort of make it kind of get stuck a little bit. It might also help potentially maybe if the texture of the knitted fabric is getting like stuck in the feed dogs, or like, you know, the sort of teeth that are pulling your fabric through on your machine, might be that maybe actually having some like a stitch and tear thing or something at the back, or something that you can sort of take away afterwards that sort of makes the fabric smoother might help. I mean, it also might mean that, just depending on what sewing machine you've got, maybe it just can't handle the thickness. You know, so obviously some sewing machines are going to be better at doing that than others, depending on what sort of level your sewing machine's at. So it might be that maybe your machine just can't cope with it anyway. In which case, what you can do if you still want like the look and feel of buttonholes is just sew a button on where it's going to be, but then sew poppers on underneath, so then it still look like a button and a buttonhole, but obviously it works with a popper instead, and you're just hand sewing those poppers on, so that might be a bit better. Okay, somebody's saying, what's the postcode of your shop? It's B138JR. So we're in South Birmingham, so just south of the city centre. I've made children's clothes out of old me-made clothes. That's a good idea if you've got some children that you can make clothes for. My buttonhole stabiliser foot has saved my relationship with my machine. Oh, phew. Might be worth seeing if you have one. Okay, so that's a buttonhole stabiliser foot. Can you suggest a sewing machine that is good for doing heavier fabrics, please? So I only have experience really using one brand of sewing machine, so I can't really give you like a broad depth of knowledge of all the different brands. My headline advice generally is that usually if you're going from like lower range to mid-range machines, the more you spend, the more you get. You do get the value in that. And all of the sort of levels or models of brother sewing machines that I've tried over the years, from like a sort of more like an introductory model that was more manual and you had to turn a dial to change the stitches. I think that one cost maybe £150. To the sewing machine that I use now, which is a brother sewing machine, which is on long-term loan from brother, so I haven't actually purchased it, but it's more at the top end of the scale. It costs about £2,000, and it can pretty much stitch through anything. You know, it's really, really good. So I would say if you want your machine to be able to do the most that it can do, is just to stretch your budget as far as you're able to, and know that the chances are, from my experience of using brother sewing machines anyway, that you are going to get what you're paying for. Okay, let's see what other questions have come in the year. This year I am trying to go by the rule 1 in, 1 out, and if possible the one out goes to the charity shop. That's a good idea. What about using the fabric from me-made garments you don't wear anymore into a piece patchwork quilt? That's a good idea, so just repurposing them into something else. I have a Bernina B480 and it sews through 4 layers of thick wool without problems. It's a bit expensive though. Yeah, Bernina is an expensive brand, but I've never actually used one before. My mum uses a Bernina, which is really old now, but it's been really good, lasts a long time. And anybody who I've spoken to who's got a Bernina always does speak very highly of it. But I know that they are more expensive. Okay, the next one was tips on the best types of jersey for legging type PJs that hold their shape. You definitely want to make sure that it's got a decent amount of elastane in there if it's going to hold its shape. So I would say like anything between 5 and 8% is going to be good. Obviously the more elastane it's got in it, the better, because the more recovery it's going to have if you don't want it to bag out. And something that's quite lightweight, is going to be nice and comfortable as well. I've got a few different jerseys that you can make PJs out of. Really, the Tencel modal is really nice, feels really like sort of lightweight and soft and kind of silky. It's a bit thinner. It's more like a lightweight t-shirt sort of material. I have from years and years ago, in fact I don't think I even have them anymore, but I did years ago have a really nice pair of jersey pajama bottoms from Marks and Spencer's, and they were made out of a fabric like this. So I haven't made it recently, but I know that type of fabric does work and feels really nice, comfy as pajamas. If you want something a bit thicker, this is also a nice option too. This is the loop back modal, which comes in lots of colours. This particular one is the moss green. So I have also made actual leggings with this. I guess if you're talking about PJ type leggings, maybe they're a bit looser, but I have made the Megan Nielsen Virginia leggings out of this fabric before, and it's been really comfy and I feel like it's not stretched out. We did do a legging kit last year with special legging fabric that I got made especially for the kits, and it was really popular, and people were just like continuing to ask me about it all the time. So I'm starting to make some inquiries to see if I can get some more of that legging fabric that was in the kits last year. So if you have asked me about that before, I'm investigating it. Okay, somebody's saying, I would like to make a pair of wide leg trousers out of ponte fabric. Do you have any pattern suggestions? Not off the top of my head for that one. Maybe somebody watching will, and then in which case I will read it out. But I'll probably have to add that to my list for next week so that I can investigate it a little bit more. Okay, Nikki's saying, I've had my Bernina since the late 80s and it is perfect still, so quiet, stitches through thick coating, no probs. That sounds good. I learned to sew at school in a Bernina many moons ago. Excellent, that was good. They had Berninas in school. Try Abby's Den on YouTube. There's a heavy duty machine which is around 250. She has many unboxing reviews and she tells the truth and gives an honest opinion. That's good to know. Have you got a medium to heavyweight tencel that would make an unlined September coat? I do have a medium weight I've got the smooth drape tencel twill, which might work. I do also have the bamboo twill as well, which would work as well. It's not tencel, but bamboo behaves quite similarly to tencel. Patterns for Pirates SOS trousers would work in ponte. Okay, great. I've just made Style Arc Cosmo in ponte and it's fab. Okay, so that's good. A couple of recommendations there. Okay, the next one was how to adapt the tamarack jacket to make a basic men's gilet. So that is this one here, the tamarack jacket. So I would say probably the main things to consider here is thinking about the armholes, because the armholes here are going to be designed to have sleeves on them. And obviously if you're making a gilet, then I'm presuming in my head a gilet doesn't have sleeves. Tell me if I've gone mad and I'm down the wrong train here. But I think you would probably need to just maybe like change that a bit, maybe make it bigger. I suppose it also depends how the chest measurements of the man are fitting in to the sizes that you have available in your pattern as well. It might be maybe you want to change the neck as well. I don't know whether you would maybe want to like add more of a sort of like maybe like a little sort of stand collar on it too, so that it's not flat. I feel like maybe that might make it a bit more different, more like a gilet as well. So a few things to think about there. The next one was, again, not really a question, but just interesting to hear. One of my goals is to learn to sew well-fitted trousers. I think if you want to make well-fitted trousers this year, my sort of tips or advice would be is that you have to be quite open to like trial and error, potentially making mistakes, having to tweak things, learning a lot, and having a bit of patience with it, especially if you find that generally it's like really, really hard for you to get trousers that fit in the shops, then, you know, you're going to have to like try out a few different things to get sewing patterns to fit you as well. And that's totally normal. You know, you shouldn't feel like there's anything wrong in that. It's just a really, really like interesting, useful thing to learn. But I think you have to just be open-minded to that, and don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to get it right first time. And also trousers, especially if you're making trousers that are more fitted, it can vary project to project, fabric to fabric, even if you're using the same pattern. I've got a few trouser patterns that I've made loads of times. Probably the Closet Core Sasha trousers and the Closet Core Ginger jeans are the ones that I've made the most of, and various types of fabric. And every time I make them, I base fit them, because the amount of stretch in the fabric will vary from each different fabric, and you have to sort of refit it every time. So you have to always be kind of open to just like adapting and tweaking things, and don't sort of be too hard on yourself on that. Okay, let's see. Yep, no sleeves in the gilet. I thought I would bind the sleeve opening. I wondered if I needed to adjust for the bust, for no bust too. I know I was thinking about that. I feel like maybe because it's not got any bust shaping, like there's no darts or anything, it's quite oversized anyway, and maybe it would be okay. It would be fine. Yeah, okay. Hey, does anyone recommend any good dead stock shops? Rainbow Fabrics is quite good for dead stock. They sell mostly dead stock fabric. Also Friday Pattern Company Joan trousers are done in ponte. Okay, good. Lots of recommendations for the ponte trousers. Another one for the Cosmo, Style Art Cosmo, yeah. Lovely, thank you everyone. Okay, the next question was, I gave up sewing in 2019 as something I made didn't fit, so I'm going to try sewing again. That's great, you're going to try again. I think, again, if you're like quite new in your sewing journey and you're making things that don't fit, that's like really common, really common. And potentially maybe even depending on how much sewing you've done beforehand, like if generally sewing's quite a new skill for you and then you're going into garments quite soon, you know, there's like lots to learn. There's going to be lots of trial and error and working things out. I would say maybe like read a little bit more about taking your measurements, choosing a size, understanding positive and negative ease and finished garment measurements and that sort of thing. I do have a couple of, I think they might actually be in the articles section in the Sewing Society bit of the website. I've got one about making a toile, one about taking your measurements and choosing a size and advice on that. So it might be that you want to sort of increase your knowledge around that area a little bit, and it might help you to make sure that you're picking the right size to make in the first place as well. And hopefully you get back into sewing again. Okay, the next one was, I've made outerwear before, but making a tailored blazer for the first time. Any tips / recommendations? I would say it will depend what sort of fabric you're using. If you're making it out of like a woolen fabric, then I would say pressing is going to be key. But it's probably true generally for any fabric, to be honest. Make sure you've got water in your iron so it generates steam, and make sure that you're pressing it really well as you go along. It might be that you want to get yourself a wooden clapper. These are ones that we got made especially for us. They're made locally in Birmingham from sustainable European beechwood, and they're really good. You basically use them as you're pressing your fabric. You have, as I said, you have water in your iron so it generates steam. You steam your fabric and then you sort of squish that on top and like press down on it, and it helps like really flatten and set the fabric, so that can help make a blazer look really crisp, like if you're getting the collar pressed and everything. Maybe just have lots of patience, embrace any hand sewing that's involved. You know, I would say a tailored blazer is not a quick project, so you have to be sort of enjoying like the slow process of it. Okay, the next one is, have you tried popper / snaps on the hovea jacket? Would they work? What would you use? So no, I haven't tried it. This is the hovea is the one actually that's in the window behind me here, and it is quite an oversized jacket, but it's not totally, I suppose the collar version does overlap a little bit, I guess, but it's not, I think it's more of a jacket that I think you would probably sort of wear open or wear relaxed. So I'm not totally sure. I think I'd maybe need to try on that green one again, which is what one's got the ties, because yeah, it does, yeah, the collar bit does overlap a little bit, so I guess you could put poppers on there. I haven't tried it on that fabric though, so I'm not, you know, I would need to like experiment with it before giving you any other specific tips. I mean, that fabric also looks really good in this pattern too. I've seen a really nice version of that made up. Well done, Helen. So yeah, you could look at other patterns as well that have maybe got poppers in them rather than the hovea. Okay, the next one was bust darts. Can you show how they are supposed to look so you know if the fit is correct? Sorry, I don't have anything on with bust darts because I am wearing stretchy clothes right now, a hoodie, and then underneath I've got the Zoe vest top, which doesn't have any darts either. But really what you're looking for with a dart, I'm going to try and like show you where my bust is. You want it coming from, so it's going to be coming out from the side seam, and you want it so that it's pointing to like the fullest part of your bust, or like the bust apex it gets called, or the tip. I would also make sure that if you're making something that's got darts that's quite fitted, make sure that as you measure yourself and as you try it on, you're wearing the bra that you will wear when you wear the final garment. I mean, like, I'm in my late 30s and I've had 2 kids, and like, you know, my boobs are not the same as they were like 5-6 years ago. So, you know, if you're going to be wearing something that's like fitted and like you know, around the bust, you got to make sure the underwear is right to start with. Otherwise it's going to vary a lot, because if you're like measuring yourself, or you like trying something on when you're like in your PJs or something, and you've got like your nice relaxed bra on, but actually, you know, you're going to be wearing a different bra when you wear the garment, you know, it will feel like it's not in the right place. So you want it kind of coming out, pointing to the apex, the fullest part of your bust when you've got your good bra on, and then but you don't want the point of the dart like ending on there. It's gonna like, you know, gonna be then quite pointy. Hello. So it needs to finish, I would say, like maybe like an inch away from it anyway, maybe like an inch and a half. I don't know, it might depend on the style of the pattern. So you don't want it too high, like it's not gonna be in your armpit. You don't want it too low either, or else the fullness is going to be more under your bust. So yeah, hopefully that, sorry I've not got one to actually show you, but hopefully those tips help. Okay, Helen is saying, I can confirm metal anorak snaps are not suitable on the fabric that came in the hovea kit. Oh dear, that sounds kind of frustrating. It sounds like maybe you tried and it didn't sort of work. Okay, so will the fabric from the hovea kit be available to buy by the meter? It will, yeah. It's probably going to be another couple of weeks before we've just sort of dealt with all the stock after the kits. But it will be available by the meter, and we will have it in other colours as well, which is exciting. Okay, the next one was Maraflex thread versus zigzag stitch, and then stitch length and tension for the Maraflex. So if you've not heard of it before, this is the Maraflex thread here, and it is stretchy thread. It's obviously quite hard to show because it's, you know, I don't know if the camera can really pick that up. But basically it stretches, it gives. So it's for sewing stretchy jersey fabric, and it means that you can sew it with a straight stitch. So you don't, when I use it on my machine, I don't have to change the tension or anything like that. I just sew it on a regular straight stitch. I guess depends on what the seam allowance is, then I might alter the position of the needle, like whether it's in the middle of the foot or more to the left hand side. That's to do with getting the seam allowance right. In terms of the stitch length, 2.5 should be fine. If you're making something that is really fitted and has to stretch a lot, then potentially the Maraflex still might not be stretchy enough with a straight stitch, in which case you could just use a stretch stitch with it. So for example, if it was quite a high necked t-shirt that was very fitted, and you know, the opening for the neckline was quite small, so then it meant that it had to stretch a lot to be able to get on over your head, then you could just use like a zigzag or a stretch stitch with the Maraflex, and then it's going to be stretchy enough. But otherwise, I mean, say you were sewing something like this, which is, you know, it's stretchy but it's not fitted at all, definitely just like straight stitch with that. It's going to be fine. I think the Maraflex is also going to be really good because I know that some people don't have a great stretch stitch on their sewing machine. I have one that looks a bit like a lightning bolt, but some people don't have that. And then you end up having to use like the regular zigzag stitch and just changing the width and the length of it a little bit. So then yeah, it's definitely quicker sewing that as well. So it's just quicker sewing a straight stitch than it is sewing a zigzag stitch. Okay, let's see, what am I missing here? Any other questions? Ended up with hand sewn in Velcro with the anorak snaps for decoration. Okay, glad you got around to it in the end. Is the Microflex better for cotton jersey as well? And what is the difference between jersey and cotton jersey? Well, jersey's like the type of fabric and cotton is the fibre. So jersey can be made from many different fibres. It might be made from cotton or modal or tencel or viscose. Cotton jersey tends to hold its shape a little bit more, so it's like a little bit more structured, whereas those more cellulose based fibres like the lyocell, the tencel, the modal, the viscose, they tend to be a lot floppier and sort of drapey and more slinky. So yeah, jersey's the type of fabric, and then the cotton is the fibre that's made it. Do you fill the bobbin in the usual way with the Maraflex? Yes, you do. Bobbin just normal like this, normal with this thread. I use Dalston Mills. Okay, I think that's maybe in relation to the dead stock question from earlier. Is the Maraflex just in the top thread and the bobbin? Yeah, so it's in top and bottom. So when I want to sew the Adrian blouse at the Friday Pattern Company, as Microflex thread will be better for jersey. You can use either. You can use Maraflex yeah, definitely. Or if you've not got that and you've already got a thread that matches your fabric, you can just use regular thread too, and just make sure you use a stretch stitch, it'll be fine. I have just used Maraflex for my first ever stretch make. It's brilliant and worth using. Yeah, I should mention that it is more expensive, but you do get more on it. So the regular Gutermann reels that sort of look like this have 100 meters on them, but this has got 150 meters on it. And also you use less thread, because if you're using a straight stitch versus a zigzag stitch, you use less thread as well. So although they are more expensive, I think they do last longer. It works really well and it looks neater. So lots of love for the Maraflex thread. Do you have any fabrics for sportswear leggings, please? I'm sorry, we don't. It's really hard to find that kind of fabric. I used Dalston Mills for dead stock fabric. Just bought a lovely teal tartan fabric. That sounds nice. Okay, so the next one was, do you have plans to stock the Tauko magazine? I mean, I don't at the moment, but I will heed the request and take notes and have a little look into it. The next one was, if you change the bobbin thread but not the main thread, do you rethread the machine? I mean, I don't in my machine, but I guess if you're then finding that you're stitching it and something weird's happening, then you might need to, but I would generally say no, you don't need to. The next one was sewing hembands to lengthen dresses or a skirt. So I would say the main thing, if you're wanting to sew like a panel on to make something longer, I think what you need to think about is like the sort of silhouette or like the line of it. So if it's something that is, say, A-line, for example, you know, it's like narrower, more fitted at your waist and hips, and then it kind of comes out like that, is that you need to make sure that the bit that you're sewing on kind of continues in that line or like that direction. Whereas if it's a straighter skirt, you're probably going to get away with more like just a rectangle. But if the skirt's more like that shape, you're going to need to make the bit that you sew on sort of the same shape as the bottom hemline, and it might have like more like an angle on it at the side seams. So yeah, I would just bear that in mind. I suppose without knowing more of the context of the question, I think that's the most I can say on it just now. Okay, the next one was, if a pattern says to line a dress, do you have to, or can you skip that bit? I think it depends on the fabric that you're using and whether that fabric needs lining or not. Because some, you can make things that are lined with a fabric that doesn't necessarily need lining, but you might just want it lined anyway. But obviously if the fabric's like see-through or something, you're probably going to want to line it. Or if the fabric you're using doesn't maybe feel like really soft against your skin, you would maybe want to line it for that reason. So yeah, it depends on the main fabric. But the other thing you probably want to think about if it's designed to be lined and you're then not lining it, is how you're finishing off certain sections of it, probably mostly the neckline, because it might be that the lining is attached to the outer part of the garment at the neckline, and if you then don't have the lining, you're going to have to finish off that neckline in another way, whether that's bias binding or you have to draft a facing for it instead, which is not too hard. So yeah, you just have to have a little think about that as well. Okay, the next one was a foldable A0 cutting mat and rotary cutter, please. We don't sell foldable cutting mats, unfortunately, but I mean, you can, like, Alpha's quite a good brand. You can get various different ones online. The only thing that came to mind when I was thinking about this was why you wanted a folding one specifically, and I was thinking, I wonder if it's because you want to be able to store it easier. If it folds, it's easier storage. But my one piece of advice for storing self-healing mats, having made this mistake myself, is that you got to make sure that you store them horizontal. If you store it like this somewhere, even if it's like slotted in something, it might like bow and not be totally flat over time, especially if it gets heated. Or the worst one was a cutting mat sitting on a table, but it wasn't totally on the table, like the corner was kind of sticking out the edge of the table. It was a nice sunny day, sun was shining in, sounded lovely. It heated up the mat and it made the mat like bend off the edge of the table, and then the mat was like this, it wouldn't go back again. So definitely, if you're thinking about a foldable cutting mat for storage purposes, bear in mind that you still need to store it totally flat. I've heard people store cutting mats just under their sofa before. I guess it's like maybe quite a big area that's very thin, not many other things to fit under there. Yeah, somebody's just saying that, store cutting mats under your sofa. in which case it might be that maybe you don't need a folded one, because if you're going to put it under your sofa anyway, there might be enough space to not have a folded one, and then you're not having to buy and pay for that function because you don't need it anyway. Yeah, lots of people are saying store it under the sofa. I would say that's definitely good advice. Okay, the next one was how to tell if I stretched a rib fabric too much while sewing. I would say probably it's going to be like quite wavy and not totally flat anymore. If you've stretched it out, that's going to be like the biggest giveaway. And you might be able to sort of steam and press that back into shape again. But yeah, probably if it's like, yeah, just kind of like looks wavy a little bit and it's not kind of recoiling back. Yeah, more people saying that they store theirs under the sofa, somebody under the bed. I've got various other rubbish under my bed, so I couldn't put one there. But you know, if you're quite organised and you don't hide stuff under your bed, then yeah, under the bed too. Okay, the next one was I have some of the Peacock Stretch Cotton Needlecord fabric. It's lovely from your shop. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a gorgeous colour. It's got a bit of elastane in it, so it's got a bit of stretch. It's the Peacock Stretch Cotton Needlecord. It's $15.60 a metre and it's 96% cotton and 4% elastane. So the question was, I bought it intending to make a full-ish mid-length calf skirt, but it's stiffer than I expected. I'm wondering if I need to rethink what I can make with it. Do you think a skirt would still work in it? And can you help with any pattern suggestions or recommendations for a mid-length skirt of some kind? I think it would still work for a skirt. You know, I think it will hold its shape a little bit more. You know, cord's not really going to be like drapey or kind of floaty, so it's always going to hold its structure a bit more, just because that's what cotton cord does. But I would say that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it just, you know, it'll just hold its shape a bit more, and I think that would look nice. If you didn't want that, then the Sew Over It Ava skirt has like a longer length option, and it's a bit more just sort of straighter, and you know, it doesn't kind of flare out as much. We used that in a kit last year in a sort of heavier jumbo cord, but if you have a look at that kit listing for the Ava skirts in the Sewing Society section of the website, you'll see the longer length of that. So I think you could use it for that as well. I think you could also use it for like a kind of like a button down skirt as well. So the Tilly and the Buttons Bobby skirt, it's a pinafore pattern and a skirt pattern. Has a pinafore in the front, but it's got a skirt option too. And I've actually got a cord skirt, which was also a kit, a bobby skirt in a similar colour to this. It was just the chunkier cord, so yeah, that would work as well. Okay, the next one was best workwear patterns, please, something more fitted. So I did bring over a few of the Avid Seamstress ones because I thought that they were sort of a bit smarter and maybe a bit more fitted. The city trousers, quite nice, and then the blazer, nice one, a little bit smart. Could sort of dress that up or down, I think. And then the blouse is quite good. It's quite fitted as well, and it's just quite nice and simple. I think that would be a nice one for work too. And then if you wanted a dress, the shift dress is quite nice. So a few suggestions for workwear there, but I get asked that question quite a lot, and people always have lots of different suggestions for it. So if you work somewhere and you want something a bit smarter, and you wear something a bit smarter, and you've got made something that's a bit more fitted and you liked it, then let me know and I'll read it out. Okay, somebody's saying, could you say where, if you supply the cord string on your website, or if not, where I might find it? Do you mean as in this here? Yeah, we do. We do have this on the website. I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called again. See, if you send me a direct message on Instagram, I'll send you the link to it afterwards. Let's see, did I miss it? There was another question here. Do you have any advice for prepping boiled wool? Prepping it for what? You don't need to pre-wash it. I suppose it depends on what you're making. You might want to block interface it. I have a video and a blog post on that. It depends what you're making. Is the ruby cotton twill stretchy enough for the sashes, do you think? I've got a feeling it is, yeah. I'd have to go and find it and have another feel, but I'm probably about 85% sure that it is. Do you have any fabric recommendations for the city trousers, please? Yeah, what does it say for that one again? Medium weight fabrics with a slight stretch. So I would say like the stretch cotton twills would be good for that. probably some of our wool fabrics as well that are in my trousers post. My autumn winter trousers post would be good for that too, if you wanted something that was like a bit warmer. Michelle Sews Patterns has a fantastic lined pencil skirt and the Agnes. Okay, that sounds good. Nice workwear pattern recommendation. Okay, the next one was, I'm making the Atelier dupe Alex coat pattern. Is sewing a jacket hard, and what fabric is best? In terms of is sewing a jacket hard, I would say it's a lot of depends on that question. Depends on what you've sewn before, what fabric you're using, what pattern you're using. I mean, it's not like going to be really quick and easy, is it? It's a jacket. So it will be a bit more of a challenge. But yeah, I think without knowing more context of your background, I wouldn't want to say how hard or easy it was going to be, because I think that's quite a subjective thing. In terms of what fabric is best, I brought over a really nice one that I thought would be good. It's like a longer sort of coat, got quite big lapels, it's got princess seams as well, so it's the Atelier dupe Alex coat pattern. Yeah, I brought over this one, which kind of came towards the end of when we were getting in all our wools. It's the dark anthracite wool blend fabric. It's $20.50 a metre, and it feels amazing because it's got 7% cashmere in it. So it's 65 wool, 28 nylon, and 7% cashmere. And it's got like a little fleck, so it's, you know, it's like a dark grey, but it's not a solid colour because it's got like a little sort of fleck in it. And I think it's a gorgeous thickness. The contrast making my face go very white there. It feels really nice and very, very soft, and I think that would make a gorgeous coat, very luxurious coat. Okay, so let's put that to the side before it makes the lights do anything weird again. The next one was a pattern for a wrap dress with a twist, a fun twist in the conventional. The named pattern's kilo is good, it's sort of wrapped round, but when you take the tags out to the side, it's very sort of wide. You can either wrap at the front or at the back, which is quite interesting and different. This isn't technically a wrap dress, but it does have sort of a tie detail on it. The sew over it is Estelle dress, so it's quite a sort of simple one, but yeah, it's got this kind of fancy bit that sort of ties at the waist, which is quite nice. So no, it's not a wrap dress, but it does have that sort of like tying bit at the front. And then the sew over it Georgie is also, again, I think it might be a faux wrap dress, but it kind of looks like it wraps at the top, like it's got, you know, it's got the sort of V section. It's really nice, kind of more sort of gathered over there. So that looks nice too, and it's made out of jersey, nice and comfy. And then the Closet Core Elodie is another, I would say it's like quite a popular kind of classic wrap dress, but it's made for woven fabrics. It's got little pleats underneath here, so then it has a sort of looser kind of feel here, and then the sleeves are sort of grown on, so then yeah, it's quite kind of loose around here. It's really nice, but then more fitted at the waist, and then sort of flares out, and the skirt's lovely. We've done that as a kit before as well. It's really nice. I think that's a gorgeous dress pattern. Okay, the next one was, I really want to make jeans, but I'm not sure what pattern. What are your favourites? For stretch denim, my favourites are the Closet Core Ginger jeans. That's what I'm wearing just now. These are the ones, the cone mill denim from our kit. And then for non-stretch, it's the Dons, the Megan Nielsen Dawn jeans. So we've got kits for that, which have got a 20% discount on them just now. But they are my favourites, the ones I've made the most of. The next one was, I've got some Kokka black embroidered gauze. Can you suggest some top patterns? So I did do a blog post on double gauze fabric a couple of summers ago, and I've got loads of links to different patterns in there and lots of tips on how to sew with it as well. But a few that I picked out, which were my favourites, are the Helen's Closet Gilbert blouse, which is really nice. I've got a gauze version of that. And then the Grainline Hadley top, I've also made a double gauze version of that. It's really nice, quite simple. We made a Merchant & Mills Edie, and I think we've made a Merchant & Mills Camber as well out of gauze, which both looked really nice. Tilly and the Button Stevie, another sort of simple classic one, which is good. So yeah. Okay, somebody's asking, would that anthracite wool be good for the Closet Core Mitchell trousers, please? And would they need lining? I think it might be a little bit thick. Sorry, I think it might be too thick for the trousers. It's more of like a kind of like a blazery coat fabric. Okay, the next question was the Cheetah Heart Viscose Sateen, a pattern recommendation for intermediate level. That's a Fabric Godmother print. That is the one that I used to make the Fibremood honey blouse that's got the gathered collar, and I love it. I love that blouse, and I would say it's probably more intermediate. That fabric in general is like intermediate because it's really tricky to work with because it's very slippery, but it looks amazing made up. It's really nice to wear as well. Okay, the next one was recommendations for the cashmerette pembroke dress. This is like a sort of classic t-shirt dress, which you can either, they've got a few different versions sewn up, so you can either have a turtleneck and it looks like a more structured fabric, or just a regular sort of neck, and then it's more like a kind of t-shirt dress, sort of simple t-shirt dress, which you can have a tie belt with. So I would say you could, depends on what sort of version you were looking for, I would say if you're using the turtleneck and it's going to be a bit more structured, I would definitely go for something like a French terry or a sweatshirting fabric. Or actually, I forgot to bring some over, but I'm wondering whether our viscose blended knit would also work. That's the one that's been really popular that we use to make the named Esme cardigan. That might also work as well for like a more sort of structured, cozy one. But otherwise, if it's more like a lighter weight t-shirt version, then yeah, like a French terry would be nice. Or if you wanted more like kind of swishy and it moved around a lot, then you know, the tencel modal would be good for that as well. So I think it depends on what sort of look you want to go for there. The other request was the cashmerette turner, which is also a knit dress, and it's got a V-neck and then a flared skirt, so it's a bit more sort of like fit and flare style because it's got a seam at the waist, and it definitely looked like it was more of a sort of lighter weight swishy fabric, so something like that tencel modal, which comes in lots of plain colours, or a viscose. A viscose jersey would work as well, or this one, which is, this is cotton and modal. So it feels a little bit sort of thicker, but because it's 50% modal, it's still got like a nice amount of sort of swish and stretch to it, and drape. Okay, the next one was what ribbing cuffing matches your russet snuggly fleeceback sweatshirting. This was a new range of sweatshirting that we got in not too long before Christmas, and it was their thickest one that we've had, so it's really chunky, very, very cozy, and I'm afraid it's all gone, so I don't actually have a bit of it to compare to the ribbings we've got. So, but more is on its way, and when it comes I will match it, and I'll add that back onto my list again. So sorry that I can't match that for you tonight. Okay, the next one was your recommended pattern make for 2023. So I had a good think about this, but I think really I can't really pick one pattern, because I feel like it depends on what your goal is as to what I would recommend for 2023. Like if you want to learn new skills, or if you want to learn new skills, you want to challenge yourself, then you know, I would pick something like jeans or a jacket or a coat or something like that. It's like really more involved. Or if your goal is that you want to just generally wear more clothes that you've made, like day to day, every day, is that I would recommend a pattern that is for something that is like a classic basic that you will be able to make lots and lots of. So, and that might depend on what your job or your lifestyle is, or generally what you wear a lot of anyway. Like if you, you know, I've been, well, over the winter and the autumn anyway, I've literally been wearing these the True by Zoe vest tank tops with everything. So then, you know, then it means I've always got something on I've made anyway. But you know, it's like a nice layering piece. You can always feel like you're wearing something you've made if you make something like that. So yeah, I think it depends what your goal is really. Okay, somebody was asking for alternative patterns for the quilted fabrics that was used in the December kit. So that's the sort of puffer pre-quilted fabric, the water repellent fabric that we used for the hovea kits. She's not a fan of the hovea. So the grade line tamarack that we were talking about before. The other ones that I've seen as well are, there's a few fibremood ones that look really nice. The Molly jacket, the Giselle jacket, and the Marcia jacket. And they all have samples made up in the puffer fabric. But what I would say is that you don't necessarily need to find a pattern that has been made up in that fabric. You could use another pattern and just use that fabric with it. So I wouldn't feel like you need to totally hone down your pattern search based on patterns that have just used that fabric before. You could, you know, I would go more on what sort of style you actually want, what kind of look you want your jacket to have. I think you could also use it to make more of like a sort of relaxed bomber style jacket as well, you know, that would have cuffing or ribbing at the neckline and the hemband and the cuffs as well. I think that might look quite cool. And then the last one that I got sent in beforehand, so if you do have any other questions, let me know now. I can't believe another hour has passed. Any recommendations for a kid's jacket pattern, something for waxed canvas? So I had a little look around and I couldn't find, I didn't have time to spend loads of time on it, but I found a couple of things. I have made, it depends what age range as well, I've made the Pauline Alice has got a mini collection, which is, I think there's 3 patterns in it. It comes as like one, but there's 3 different garments in it. And there's a really simple, cute little like raglan sleeve hooded rain mac in there. And I did use waxed canvas to make a version of that for my daughter when she was really little. I think she might have only been 2 or something at the time. It was really cute. But I think the age range on that is smaller. The other one that I found as well was the Ellie and Mac Duke jacket, which looked like it might be good as well. So a couple of suggestions there. Okay, let's see if anybody else is asking anything. The quilted fabric might be wrong, but the preview of the new closet core pattern looks like it might be a quilted jacket. Yeah, I just saw that on Instagram tonight. I can't wait to see what it is. I don't know. I don't have any insider info there. But yeah, it does look like it could be. So yeah, that might be another option. Apologies if you've already shown them, but what is the striped brown fabric on the table behind you? I wonder if you mean this one here. Yeah, I showed it at the beginning. It's a jersey. It's like a t-shirt weight jersey fabric. It's in the new section of the website. Comes in 5 colours. It's the dashed lines on mustard cotton jersey fabric, and it's 1410 a metre. So yeah, good for t-shirts and tops and that sort of thing. Okay, I think that's me caught up with everything, but thank you so much for coming back and listening to all my chat. It's nice to see so many of you again on a Monday night, and I hope you found that useful and inspiring, and it maybe gets you into the flow of wanting to sew something. I think January is a really good time to sew stuff because, you know, there's not really much else going on. So it's a nice time to just like be inside and nice and cozy and maybe sewing some nice projects. So yeah, I'll see you again next week. If anybody does have any questions you want to ask me at all, feel free to send me a message, or you can email the shop, or watch out for the little sort of question box that I put up. I usually put that out on a Saturday, so you can leave me a little question in there if you want me to answer it as well. And yeah, there should just be hopefully lots of new fabrics continuing to trickle in. And yeah, thank you for your thanks, everyone. Really glad you enjoyed it all and you found it useful. The recording will be on YouTube. It might not be, I have to go to London for the day tomorrow to go to a fabric show. I have to leave quite early, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to post it to my YouTube channel before I get a chance to leave. But if not, it'll be in the evening that I put it up, but I'll save it to Instagram anyway if you started watching partway through and you want to see what else I was chatting about. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and the rest of your evening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.